The Houseboat War. The sun was dipping low over Lake Serenity, casting a golden glow on my houseboat, the Haven. I'd built her myself, plank by plank, over 6 years solar panels, rainwater filtration, a composting toilet that didn't harm the lake. She was my pride, my home, my proof that you could live simply and sustainably. But that evening, as I sipped coffee on the deck, a woman in heels marched down my dock, clipboard in hand, her voice sharp as a whip. "You're trespassing on our community standards," she declared. "I've called the sheriff." That was Margaret Coleman, president of the Willow Shores Homeowners Association, and she thought she owned the lake. She was wrong. What unfolded next was a battle of wills, lies, and truth, one that would shake our quiet lakeside to its core. If you've ever faced a bully who thought they could rewrite the rules, you're about to see justice served. I'm Tom Bennett, 52, a boat builder who'd spent decades crafting vessels that danced on water. The Haven was my masterpiece, moored legally 300 yards from the new Willow Shores subdivision, a gated enclave of manicured lawns and inflated egos. For years, I lived in peace, fixing boats by day and watching stars by night. Then Margaret arrived, her sights set on my floating home. She called it an eyesore, claimed it tanked property values. Never mind my permits, my eco-friendly systems, or the fact I'd been here long before her McMansion sprouted. She wanted me gone, and she wasn't asking nicely. That first confrontation set the tone. Margaret, with her polished smile and calculated tone, measured my boat, snapped photos, and muttered about community concerns. I stayed calm, explained my legal mooring contract, but she just smirked. "We'll see about that," she said, her heels clicking as she left. My gut told me to start recording every word, every move. Good thing, because Margaret wasn't playing neighborly. She was waging war. Within days, a certified letter from the HOA landed at the marina office, dripping with legal jargon and threats of $500 daily fines. It was Margaret's handiwork, but it had no teeth. Me mooring contract and county bylaws allowed waterfront activities like mine. Undeterred, she unleashed a campaign to make my life hell. HOA members took shifts spying on my dock, snapping pictures, scribbling notes. Glossy flyers appeared in mailboxes, showing doctored before and after shots of the lake, claiming my boat caused algae blooms and mosquito swarms. She even started a Save Our Shores group, painting me as a squatter. Neighbors who'd waved hello at the grocery store now avoided my gaze. Margaret wasn't just attacking my home. She was turning my community against me. I fought back quietly but smartly. Every flyer, every surveillance shift, every whispered conversation, I documented it all. I reached out to neutral neighbors, showing them my permits and explaining how my solar panels and composting toilet helped the lake, unlike the chemical fertilizers runoff from Willow Shores. Some listened, but Margaret's propaganda was relentless. She posted new HOA rules banning floating structures, conveniently backdated to make my home illegal. When I checked county records, I found she'd slipped the rule in weeks earlier, right after our first clash. The audacity was staggering. The pressure was suffocating. Every morning, I'd spot binoculars glinting from the subdivision. Every boat repair job was photographed. It felt like living under a microscope, my every move dissected for violations. But I held firm. The Haven wasn't just a boat, it was my stand for a life that didn't bow to suburban conformity. I'd poured my heart into her, and no clipboard tyrant was going to take that away. Then things got dangerous. One morning, I found my mooring lines loosened not by accident, but by someone who knew knots. Had I been asleep, the Haven could have drifted into rocks, wrecked beyond repair. Muddy high-heel prints marked the dock. My motion sensor cameras, installed after earlier vandalism, caught a shadowy figure at 2 a.m., too grainy to identify. I called Deputy Mike Larson, a no-nonsense officer who inspected the sabotage. "Someone's escalating," he said, photographing the tampered ropes. "Document everything." I did, and I sent a letter to the HOA, copying neighbors, warning that this wasn't about aesthetics, Anna Marie, it was criminal. Margaret didn't blink. That same day, she called the sheriff, claiming I'd threatened her during our dockside talk. When Deputy Larson returned, he wasn't buying her story, not after seeing my evidence. But her lies were piling up, and the community was buzzing. Neighbors peeked from windows as patrol cars rolled in twice in one day. Margaret spun it, painting me as a troublemaker. My sanctuary felt like a target. I barely slept, jumping at every creek, checking my cameras obsessively. The real bombshell hit when I got a county notice about unpermitted water contamination from my boat. It listed specs from my private permit files details only someone with government access could have leaked. This wasn't just Margaret anymore. It was a conspiracy. She doubled down with her Save Our Shores campaign, distributing flyers claiming my boat dumped sewage and poisoned fish. It was all me systems were cleaner than the subdivision's lawn runoff, but the glossy graphics swayed people. She even used photos from other lakes to fake damage. The deception was chilling. I countered with the truth. I hired Dr. Susan Hayes, a local environmental professor, to test the water around the haven. Her results were stunning. The lake was cleaner near my boat than anywhere else, thanks to my system's filtering runoff. I invited neighbors for tours, showing them the solar panels and composting toilet. Kids loved it, asking questions about sustainable living. Slowly, the narrative shifted. Families started seeing my boat as a classroom, not a threat. But Margaret wasn't done. She filed a county complaint demanding I vacate for an emergency inspection, citing imminent environmental hazards. The county gave me 72 hours to leave the haven while they investigated her fabricated claims. Exiled to the marina office, I watched yellow tape and hazard stickers slap onto my home. It was a gut punch. Neighbors who'd supported me wavered, swayed by the official-looking seals. But I had an ace, a hidden camera I'd rigged inside the haven before it was sealed. When I checked the footage, my blood boiled. There was Margaret, breaking into my sealed boat, planting algae samples, staging photos, and stealing my environmental certifications. She moved like a predator, certain she'd never be caught. I saved the video to 3 drives and scrawled in my journal, "She just buried herself." Margaret planned her final blow at a lakeside HOA summit, inviting reporters, county officials, and residents to witness my eviction. She'd prepared slides, charts, and lies about protecting the lake. I prepared too, gathering Dr. Hayes' data, expert testimonies, and my smoking gun footage. The community center was packed. Margaret's allies in matching Save Our Shores shirts, but also families, students, and neighbors uneasy with her tactics. She launched into her presentation, all polish and venom, calling my boat a floating blight. The crowd nodded until I took the mic. "Ladies and gentlemen," I said, plugging in my laptop, "before you decide, see this." The screen lit up with Margaret's break-in, crystal clear. Gasps filled the room as she planted algae, stole documents, and staged violations. A man who'd signed her petition stood up. "I was wrong," he said. A mother whispered, "We trusted her." Dr. Hayes followed, presenting water quality data proving that the haven helped the lake, while Willow Shore's chemicals harmed it. The contrast was brutal: science versus lies. Margaret's defense was pathetic. She stammered about necessary research, but the crowd saw theft, not science. HOA board members distanced themselves, voting to oust her on the spot. One apologized to me publicly, stunned by her crimes. The county official closed the investigation, commending my boat as a model for sustainability. Neighbors tore up Margaret's petition, some apologizing for believing her. Deputy Larson approached me after. "We're filing charges breaking, evidence tampering, false reports," he said, then added, "I'm sorry for what you endured." Margaret's empire crumbled. She faced criminal charges in my civil lawsuit for harassment and defamation. Her real estate career tanked. Licensing boards don't forgive felons. Her house sold at a loss, and she fled to Iowa, where rumors say she's clashing with farmers over pesticides. The haven was certified as a sustainable floating residence, drawing environmental groups and schools for tours. My boat repair business boomed, backed by neighbors who admired my stand. Property values in Willow Shores rose 3 to 5%, proving Margaret's eyesore excuse was nonsense. Victory wasn't loud, it was quiet, like sleeping without fear. The county's eco plaque on the haven became a neighborhood badge of pride. My home inspired other lakeside communities, and colleges used it for sustainability studies. Margaret's lies forced me to prove my values, forging bonds and opportunities I'd never imagined. She took my peace, but gave me purpose. As I sit on my deck now, watching the sunrise, I'm stronger, surer of who I am. Truth won, not because it's loud, but because it's stubborn. Justice isn't fast, but it's real. And sometimes, standing up to a bully doesn't just save your home, it changes the world around you. What do you think? Have you faced injustice or bullying in your life? Share your thoughts in the comments. Should we fight back with truth, or is there another way? Let's debate what justice means.